How can Reiki truly give us lasting benefits and healing on our body and our mind? Find out and stay tuned for this episode of Spirit Lift. Before we get started, please remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell down below so you can be informed every time we upload a new episode on themes such as spirituality, nutrition, and well-being. In this episode of Spirit Lift, I have the pleasure of speaking with Lisa Batitto. She'll correct me for her last name. I'm sorry, Lisa. Lisa is an intuitive healer, certified Reiki Master, spiritual life coach, and meditation teacher. She founded Enlighten Path Healing to help people connect with their own natural healing abilities, break through limiting behavior, heal pain and trauma, and take control of their destinies. Lisa, it's a pleasure to have you on this episode of Spirit Lift, and welcome.
Thank you. So nice to be here.
Lisa, it's been a remarkable last several months. Since 2020. We're in 2021 now. We're still living through a global event, which is the COVID-19 pandemic, virtually affecting every part of the world and our daily lives, our way of being. And to be honest, it's definitely had a toll on many people's just natural state of feeling, natural way of being. People are more depressed, more anxious, feel more uncertain in this world. They don't know where it's going. They don't know if things will get better. There's just so much flux going on. And people are desperately looking for a way to feel better. Just feel better, the simple things. So what we try to do here on Spirit Lift is help people in so many different ways to bring insights into different ways and provide information where they may need it in their life to feel better or be guided in a certain way that can really help them out and help those around them, obviously.
Yes.
So we're going to be speaking about Reiki today. I haven't done, I've done Reiki. I have had a session of Reiki once, maybe. My wife has had several times. She is, definitely told me how beneficial it is. And I think if people know more about it and can learn to apply it and incorporate it in their life, they can certainly feel better. So can you explain to our viewers and our listeners let's start off by talking about what is Reiki, kind of where it originated, and give them a little bit of context around Reiki, just to start off with.
So Reiki is a Japanese technique for stress reduction and relaxation that also promotes healing. And it's based on the principle that we all have a life force energy that connects us to each other. It flows through us and connects us. And we're all familiar with that energy. It's what you feel when you meet somebody and you instantly click. That's the best way I can explain it. So Reiki takes that life force energy and it helps you use it to heal yourself and to heal others.
And why did you decide personally to get involved and, into this area and get, involved in this kind of practice to help other people? What kind of inspired you to do it?
Well, I've always been really interested in spiritual practices. I meditate, and I've always been drawn to crystals and reading about different types of practices, metaphysical practices. And ever since I was younger, people always told me I had healing hands. Now, I never knew what they were talking about. I'm like, they just look like normal hands to me. But then people would tell me that I had a very healing energy and they felt better when they were around me. So I just thought maybe there was something to it. And then I started to read about Reiki and that it can help you raise your vibration, your healing vibration even more so that you can help other people deal with spiritual, mental, physical, and emotional pain.
And with Reiki, because from what I understand with Reiki, someone has to provide that energy to somebody who's, let's say, not feeling well or has a lower energy or whose energy is out of whack, something around that nature. The healer, as yourself, provides an energy that lifts them up or makes them feel better.
Yes.
My question is, how in general, just talking through Reiki itself, how do people sustain that level of continuity of trying to feel better after having a session? You know what I'm saying? Because it has to then reside with the person thereafter, you know, to continue that. How are they able to do that?
Well, my goal as a Reiki master and teacher is to actually teach the person how to call that energy whenever they need it. We actually are all healers. We actually also all have the ability to heal ourselves. So it's really just a matter of learning how to connect to that energy inside of yourself and call it up when you need it.
Okay, so you say that, you know, people can call upon that or by their own volition in a way to actually, you know, help themselves with in that way. Why is Reiki so important in the times we're living now to both have a session with and then practice it on your own? Why in your opinion is it so important now?
You know, right now we've all suffered a loss. You know, it could be some people have lost loved ones, some people have lost their jobs, they've lost their way of life. You know, everyone's dealing with something, and we really haven't had time to even mourn it because we're still in the middle of this pandemic. So, and that can cause a lot of stress. And as you know, stress can reveal itself in physical symptoms. So what Reiki can do is help you relieve that stress by putting your chakras in alignment. Your chakras are all connected to a physical part of your body. And when one of them is out of alignment or blocked, which is what Reiki works to open, it can cause, for instance, if your throat chakra is blocked, it can have an effect on your ability to communicate.
Sorry, Lisa, for our viewers and listeners, just in case they don't know what a chakra is, can we explain that?
A chakra is your energy center. There's 7 of them. They're basically centers where energy flows through your body. They're 7 points. I'd be happy to walk through them very quickly.
Yeah.
There's your crown chakra, which connects you to the universe. Your third eye chakra, where you take in information from outside of you. A lot of people call it your intuition. Your throat chakra, which is your center of communication. Your heart chakra, your ability to give and receive love. I just should point out that the heart chakra in a lot of people, that's the one that when I'm working with people seems to be unbalanced a lot of times. A lot of people feel that, you know, you would think most people would have a hard time giving love, but actually most people have a hard time receiving love. So that's a chakra that I often have to work on for people. Your solar plexus chakra is sort of your internal GPS, where you learn to trust your instincts and trust your gut. Your sacral chakra is your center of creativity, and your root chakra is your foundation and your sense of stability.
So the heart chakra is, for most people, the most difficult, you're saying?
Yes, it's very much when I work with people, a lot of times I'll come across someone, you can have a blocked chakra, but you can also have an overactive chakra. And if your heart chakra is overactive, it's basically like you're a love machine, just churning out all this love and just pushing it out, but you're not taking any in. And you're not holding on love for yourself, your self-love. So that a lot of times is out of balance. So I teach people how to learn to open themselves up.
And with the way you teach people to do this, because sometimes there's some practices that I think people get too caught up in their mind analytically, like thinking it's a process. Like they're like, okay, I gotta, you know, move my arms this way, I gotta breathe this. Like they get too there are mechanical ways sometimes that people get way too caught up in certain ways of doing these things, even when it comes to things like meditation or prayer. It's like, okay, if I don't get on my knees, then God won't answer me. Or if I'm not looking through the third eye, and then people are trying to analytically find an eye, like it just gets really complicated for some. And I understand that, because it seems like sometimes there seems to be a methodology behind an analysis. I'm like, really, I think it's a lot simpler than that. We make it way too complicated, and it's not. All this does not actually reside in the facilities of our mind. So my question to you is, like, when you teach people these things to do for themselves and on their own, is it let's say a lot more I don't want to use the word practical, but is it understandable in enough where people can really benefit from it and apply it very well to themselves and in their life?
Yeah, I like to call myself the healer next door, because I like to keep everything very simple and for people to understand and to feel comfortable doing it. A lot of people that I work with have never done it before. So basically what I say to them, this is something you should do for yourself, because it's going to make you feel good. You're going to feel better. You're going to feel that you can express yourself, because all of these energies are yours. They're yours for the taking. They belong to you. It's just understanding that you already have them. You're just not using them right now.
Yeah, like it's residing there, but unless we're really tapping into it, then it's just it's sitting idle, so to speak, right? Have you, like, with people with even chronic illnesses, have you seen particular instances or examples where people have been healed or have had like certain type of recovery by applying Reiki?
It's interesting. I work with people with chronic pain, and they actually have told me they feel a lot of relief from Reiki, because as you know, a lot of times pain is made worse by stress. I also like to work with other modalities, such as people who are doing acupuncture, or people who are under a regular doctor's care. And it helps. They work together, because Reiki can help you with the side effects of medication. It can help you if something is causing you further pain, or chemotherapy is making you sick. So it's really, it works together with all of these other things to help you use your internal systems to feel better without having to use additional medication.
And I think what we're kind of fed too much in modern culture is that we have to depend on a lot of medicines to make ourselves feel better, and that we can't rely on ourselves to feel better. And I that kind of way of thinking and being told in a certain way, like, I think it's very unfortunate, very unhealthy. But I also, in some places, they are kind of incorporating this holistic healing, you could say, like complementing different types of whether it be Reiki, certain traditional Western medicine, other things, for more holistic healing. Are you seeing that more as well?
Oh, absolutely. Reiki is based on science, and it's used in hospitals. It's used at Memorial Sloan Kettering, and it's used at Yale University Hospital to help people deal with the side effects of treatment.
Yeah, so it's being more incorporated little by
Absolutely.
little. Sounds like.
Absolutely.
And what, like, this might sound a little kind of out there in a way, but I've heard that even Reiki could be applied to animals, like
yes,
to feel better or keep them calm. Have you do people ask you that? Have you done it yourself?
It's very calming for animals, because animals, again, can feel our energy. Animals are very attached to the earth. They're more so than we are. Like, they never kind of gave up that attachment to nature. So they're very easily affected by energy. As you can tell, like, a dog can tell there's an earthquake coming before people can, or they can tell when there's a change, like bad weather is coming. Like we've all seen our animals have like different behavior. So they're very much attuned to that. And I should tell you something even additionally interesting with talking about Reiki working on living creatures. In Reiki 1, one of the things they teach us, and that's beginner level Reiki, they tell us to have 2 plants, and one plant Reiki and one plant don't Reiki, and see the difference in how they grow. And it's amazing.
Well, what you're saying kind of reminds me of,
Yeah.
I forgot the name of the experiment offhand, but I think, and I forgot if it was exactly a Japanese scientist, but somebody did an experiment on, what was it? Oh, my wife knows this stuff better than I do. He's gonna kill me. I like water, right? And then they put like different glasses of water in different, was it water or ice? Oh, she's gonna knock me on the head. But okay, so basically someone did an experiment, and pretty sure it was from somebody from Japan, if I'm mistaken. Someone's gonna and they, for I guess it was several weeks, months, they were speaking notions of love to it, and the other one they were like shouting at it, and then it must have been with ice. So then the structure molecules of the water with the love intention had beautiful patterns. The one that was being shouted at was like all damaged and discolored and things like that. So and that's just with speaking
Right.
to it. So there is power there.
Sure.
So with Reiki, kind of circling back with Reiki, then is the intention of everything that you're doing with Reiki basically everything as far as like a good outcome, a positive outcome, a healing outcome?
Yes, it's to make the person feel, the first goal is to make the person feel better, to help the person along their spiritual path, to help reduce stress. It's really to help you become your full potential and to know that you have this power inside you. You had this power all along. I'm just helping you find it.
So you're just guiding people
Yes.
to that. Yeah. And how have you seen the benefits of it directly for yourself? Is there anything particularly important for you that has been great about this journey that you've incorporated Reiki in your life?
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely helped me with stress reduction during this extremely difficult time, being separated from people that I know. Was a great way to stay in contact with them, to do group healings with people so that I can have that human connection. And when you really, like we had said before, there's no such thing as distance. Distance is an illusion. So Reiki can be done remotely. And it's helped me sleep better. It's helped me, like if I had like a little cut on my hand, I'm like, I'm just going to do some Reiki on it and see if it heals faster. And I feel like it has.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, and how, like, I don't know, just like on a kind of daily basis, like for me, for myself personally, like, I incorporate a lot of prayer, meditation, like in my heart, like throughout the day, even throughout the hour, because I don't think either whether the way in which you pray or the way in which you meditate is just a one-off thing or a once a week thing. I mean, for me, it's like it's habitual. Like I'm not trying to give a negative connotation to that, but it's like it's almost like a hourly mantra in a way, and that really just. That I feel like that part that hits inside me, like however you want to term things, or whatever it is, like just makes me continue in a very happy and positive way. And a lot of that has to do, for me, actually, with gratitude. I think
yes,
like for me, being grateful for so many different things throughout the day, minute, minutes, all throughout the day, for me is absolutely like important. So like, does something of gratitude itself really incorporate into Reiki?
Absolutely. It's all about, giving thanks for this healing power and this life force that exists in all of us and using it for good. And I like what you said about, giving gratitude. And I think that's the other thing too. From practicing this and learning how powerful it is and learning how you have a whole universe of beings to help you and you also have it inside you as well. And it makes you realize that, if you expect good things to happen, a lot of times they do. It really helps with your mental attitude, I found.
What do you think is the biggest thing, like, people may underestimate about themselves or who they are, especially if they apply Reiki into their life? Like, what is the thing? Have you noticed anything that people may tell you or share with you, like, hey, I didn't know this about myself, and I'm glad I did, or I was too worried about this thing? Or have you seen certain things that people share with you or reveal to you, like, after having done Reiki, that they're like, wow, what, I didn't know that?
A lot of times people will come because of an outside circumstance. Maybe a relationship didn't work, or they're in a relationship that's not going the way they want to, or they had a job that they thought was going to be their dream job and it didn't work out. So they're having this feeling of doubt about themselves. They're not understanding why things didn't work out the way they wanted them to. And I think it's human nature for you to automatically go to, if only I did better, if only I were relationships, if only I loved more, stronger, better, if only I was more powerful, this person would have been a better partner for me. And what I try to do is help them understand that things go the way they're supposed to go. And you shouldn't have to work this hard in a relationship. When a relationship is good, it'll be like, it's like flowing energy between two people, and you deserve someone to meet you halfway. You don't have to carry the entire relationship yourself. You don't have to be the love machine. You don't have to be the one at work the only one who cares about the job, or feel like you have to walk on eggshells around your boss. It's about taking your personal power back and understanding that part of being human is also accepting in good, and not being, having to feel like you're the martyr and that you have to suffer, because you don't have to suffer.
Yeah. And you know what, like, with you saying that, it kind of, and I've talked about sort of this issue with other people in different contexts, but ultimately we kind of make life way too much more difficult than it should be. Like,
absolutely.
And I like, sometimes I don't want to come across saying, like, I don't understand this thing, or I don't understand that thing, or try to make, that the idea of that so simplistic. But what I'm trying to say is, like, and maybe you can speak to this a bit more, like, I feel that our life is really some decision ultimately that falls under the umbrella of love or fear. It's just one of those two.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And all the other words and phrases and adjectives and whatever you want to put under each of those umbrellas is what makes up life. So it's either an energy of love, expansion, or fear, contraction.
Right.
So, do you find that as well? Like, with using Reiki and explaining to people benefits of it, of what it can do in one certain way versus another?
Yes. Another thing that people have a hard time doing is communicating and expressing themselves. And when I heal, another chakra that's often closed is the throat chakra. So when I'm working with people and It's really interesting, and you know this, and when you explain this to people, they're like, oh yeah, people always say like, oh, I can, talk to my family a certain way. If my family, or if my close friends, if something they do bothers me, I'll tell them because I know they're not going to go anywhere. But in a relationship, I'm walking on eggshells because I don't trust this person to stay. So I'm acting from a place of fear, like you were saying, instead of acting from your place of personal power and saying, I deserve to be treated this way. This is what I need to feel fulfilled, and this is what I need to be happy. So trying to get them to understand and work with them to get to a place where they're like, okay, if I say this to a person, if this is how I feel, if I'm upset about something and they can't handle it, then I'm going to say, all right, they're not the person for me. That's where people always get their aha moment. They're like, oh yeah, I deserve it. And I never felt that I did. So a lot of that for me is getting them to a place where they realize that they're worthy. Because a lot of people never heard that they were worthy or don't believe that they are.
Yeah. And again, that falls under that category of fear. It's just like self-doubt, fear, just like the actual energy of those themes that you're mentioning are just make your body contract. It feels like,
yeah. And you're just like
liberating.
Yeah. And, sometimes like, people will come, because I'm also an intuitive, and people will come to me and they'll say, can you heal this relationship? Can you make things work with this person? And you're like, oh, this isn't, you're like, I know this is not where you should be. This is not the person you should be with, but I can't tell them that. I have to bring them to understand.
Right. You have to lead them to it.
Yeah, you can't like living in a place of being afraid to be your real self, because that's true love and freedom, is to be you.
Yeah, and that's important you're saying that, because what I think is important people know is, ultimately somebody or something or some hope or some wish is not going to save your life or change your life. And people, really need to. And I personally, am doing this for myself more and more, and doing my best as well. I think everyone in their own particular way battles it, but people have to ultimately understand that the buck stops with them in every aspect of their life, no matter what, and we have to take and own, who we are, and embrace that and love that, to really 100%. Have true freedom, right?
Yeah, if you don't love yourself, no one else can love you. It really starts with self-love.
And you can attract probably the more positive things in your life, right? If you start with the love that you have for yourself as well.
Yeah, once that clicks in people, and I feel like they're feeling heard. And I think a lot of people tell that to me, like after a session, they'll say, I felt heard by you. I felt like you understood me. And I'm like, it's you understanding yourself. I just helped you get there.
Yeah, like a guide, just that.
Yeah, I just guided you to where you needed to be.
Right, yeah. I mean, and just understanding, and I think people understanding, people such as yourself as guides in a way to lead them on to understand and reach their own conclusions is very powerful, So
100%.
Well, before we finish this episode, Lisa, the time just flies by incredibly quickly, as it usually does. I'm sure people would be really interested to understand in a very practical way, what Reiki's all about, and considering that we're in the situation we are in 2021, as we were in 2020. Sorry, I'm getting my years.
I forget too.
I don't even know where we are. But people would like to, possibly know, if they want to have a Reiki session and understand that it can actually be done in a virtual way, that they could do with you. So could you give us kind of a brief demonstration?
Sure, absolutely. So the first thing I do is, if you'd like to relax, I can work on you very quickly. So the first thing I do is to find out what chakras of yours are out of balance. So
probably
first
all of them.
So I do this very quickly. This only takes a few minutes. First, I do a sound bowl, which is just bounces off all of your chakras.
I can feel that.
Yeah. Okay. And then I use a pendulum. So I'll show you like a few chakras. So I go down each chakra very quickly. So first is your connecting with your crown chakra. So you can see the way it spins. So this is a very normal spin. I'll do your third eye chakra. Okay, that's spinning. So far, so good.
Thank goodness. Otherwise, my wife would have an excuse to say what's wrong with me.
Yeah. Your throat chakra is very open.
Is that good or bad?
So you speak your mind a lot, right?
Oh yeah. Don't tell my wife. She thinks too much.
Yeah. So your heart chakra is balanced, which is very good. Now, if a person had a blocked chakra, the pendulum wouldn't move at all.
Okay.
So your solar plexus is open. You said you meditate every day?
Yeah. I mean, I incorporate prayer meditation, like it's kind of a dynamic duo power thing. So like I have my own way of doing those things.
So you're very balanced, except for your throat is a little open.
Well, tell my wife that so she can, not the throat part, but the other stuff.
So what I would do afterwards, I would talk to the person I'm working with and explain what that means. So if a chakra is closed, it means that it's not getting the proper energy. So a lot of people I'm finding have their solar plexus chakra. A lot of people have closed solar plexus chakras or throat chakras because they don't have the ability to express themselves. You, on the other hand, do not have this.
I hope in a good way.
So what I'll do is I'll lead them through a meditation. I start the meditation with, I ask them to visualize a white light coming down through their chakras. And so what I have them do is visualize a lotus flower in the color of each chakra. So your crown chakra is white, your third eye is indigo, your throat is light blue. And if the chakra is closed, we just pause there for a moment and I have them visualize it slowly opening. And this will help remove the blocks as it absorbs the energy from the universe. In the case where the chakra is overactive, I ask them to visualize the flower as fully open. So with you, I would just have you visualize the throat chakra light blue lotus flower just closing just a little bit, just to hold that energy in. And what that'll do, it'll just maybe, because sometimes, maybe sometimes you can talk a little bit before you speak, you think maybe. So this will just bring that in a little bit more. And then to the heart chakra, the solar plexus, again, if it's closed, I just have them visualize a closed lotus blossom flower slowly opening their center of power. And then the light continues down into the root chakra and into the earth. And then when it gets to the earth, it pulls up this warm red energy from the earth because we're connected to the universe and also to the earth. And then we pull that energy up through the chakras. And then I have them feel both energies in their body. So when the energies are in their body, that's when I can do the Reiki healing. Now, if there's anything that's bothering them, we'd have a discussion about it. Like if you had said, you're feeling stressed or your back is hurting. So I would do a very fast body scan. And I can also pick things up as well. Sometimes they'll say, oh, you're a little congested, aren't you? And they're like, oh, yeah, because you can feel the energy in your hands. When you're a Reiki master, you are given symbols, and this symbol raises your vibration up higher. So before a session, I would do the Reiki symbol, and I would meditate myself to bring my vibration up. and then I would go down, and then where you have a block or you have an overactive chakra, we would just pause at that, and I would send them healing. I could send you healing through the computer screen to your throat chakra, and just send healing to that. And it's interesting because I can feel it back as well. I can feel your energy coming through the screen. Yeah, your energy is flowing very nicely. You have a very nice energy.
You really have to talk to my wife after this. She needs to be
very nice. Because a lot of times, like if people, like if their throat chakra is blocked or one of their lower chakras is blocked, then what happens with the heart gets sort of like stuck in the middle, so the heart's not getting any energy, so it's overactive to try to compensate for the assistance it's not getting from the universe or from the earth. So when I send healing to that, the heart can start to gain balance and learn how to receive love. If the person's having any physical pain, I can just sort of, like when I'm working with people I work with a lot of people with chronic back pain. That, as you know, is a symptom of stress, sometimes reveals itself in physical discomfort. So I'll just concentrate on their back and just, feel like a lot of times I can feel it being cold. If it's, and sometimes they have like if it's warm, sometimes it's something to do with nerves. If it's cold, sometimes it's just like a different kind of compression there. So I'll just work on that a little bit and work it out. And sometimes the person will say they'll feel me rubbing their back, even though we're not in the same room.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's kind of cool. And then when it's done, then you have to shut it down, which is just basically shutting down their energy, shutting down my energy. So this way, the Reiki now, so this way I don't keep absorbing the person's energy after we finish the session. That's also very important. That's also a very important part of your lesson, is to leave the person's energy with them.
That's amazing. And how long do, especially like virtual sessions, do you usually do with people, and how is the way in which they need to be comfortable doing it, like lying down, or how does that work?
Most people prefer to lie down. Some people prefer to sit. It's really where your comfort level is. When I do them in person, I do ask that people lie down, because it'll give me access to all their chakras, because everything's sort of like in perfect alignment when you lie down. But sometimes it's not practical, especially if I'm doing a Reiki circle, to have everyone lie down, because then we can't have any, because it makes it difficult for people to see each other.
Oh, okay. And how long is usually a virtual session with you?
It can go from an hour to a half hour to an hour. I also do, right now I'm offering chakra sessions, and they're it's a complimentary service that I offer. They're 15 minutes, and it's just to help people identify the blocks that they have. And a lot of times afterwards, people want to continue to a Reiki session so that they can work on them further. But I do help them with a meditation to at least open them for the time being.
Oh, that's excellent. And I have a quick question before we close this really amazing conversation,
Thank
Lisa.
you.
Is what it led me to be curious as well, when people talk about, especially like empaths, right? Because it seems like people who are empaths have a much more difficult time, like getting rid of other people's energy, right? Because they get so intertwined in the way people's energies, and it's hard for them to disdain of that. So, like, if someone is, interested in doing Reiki or providing Reiki, are empaths more vulnerable to it, because sometimes they may not know how to shut off or get rid, like you said, like when you close the session, get rid of close out those energies and keep them separate. Is that difficult for empaths?
That's part of the training, is teaching you how to protect yourself. There's actually a great visual, and anyone can actually do this. And I actually tell some of my clients who are empaths to do it in the morning. When you wake up, just sort of imagine yourself being encased in a bubble. And fill that bubble with beautiful golden light. And that bubble will help you dispel any energy that's coming your way. So it's kind of like, it's almost like you're zipping up like a suit of armor, but it's like a nice bubble. So it's really learning how to do it. There's other protection you can use. There's crystals you can keep with you. Some people burn sage afterwards. That's also a good way to dispel energies around you. So it's really knowing yourself and learning that protective tool. But I do like to tell people about the bubble, especially if they're very, very sensitive.
I think that's really important, because some people have a hard time saying no as well,
yes,
right?
Yes.
And no is not a bad thing. I mean,
it's not.
You have to, yes, the word yes and no is I find equally important, and they have to be used at the right times with love always. But say no with love is equally as important and powerful. No.
And then when you give yourself permission to say no, then you can do the things you really want to, and you'll do them joyfully.
Sure. Yeah. You become more focused. You become more centered. You become more, let's say, freer in a way, because you don't feel bounded by guilt or other negative energy. So, well, Lisa, this has been an incredible episode with you, and I just think it's really, really important. People understanding how Reiki could be incorporated in their life to really guide them towards understanding themselves, loving themselves, healing themselves, and incorporate it on a day-to-day basis. So where can people find out more about you, book a session with you if they're wanting to?
You can go to my website, which is enlightenedpathhealing.com. You can also find me on Instagram at enlightenedpathhealing.com. So Enlightened Path Healing on Instagram, not .com. But yes, you can find me on Instagram or my website, and you can get information about booking a session with me.
Excellent.
And I'm always available to answer any questions too, if people have any questions about Reiki, meditation, or their spiritual path.
Excellent, Lisa. And we'll include all of Lisa's information in the video description below in the podcast notes, so you can link up with her and book a session and find out more about everything Lisa does. Thank you so much again, Lisa.
Thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun.
No, it was amazing. So insightful. And we will see you on the next episode. Take care, everyone.
Perfect. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.